What's happening? You already know what it is, man. Just one day after another. Can't go a day without some bullshit going on in this country. Yesterday we had a mass shooting in El Paso done by one of these white supremacists, these young white supremacists. Um, the one who conducted the mass shooting was a 21-year-old. Matter of fact, uh, let me just go into the guy who did this shooting. The guy who did this shooting in Ohio, in Dayton, Ohio, was a white supremacist by the name of Connor Betts. Connor Betts. Okay? Now, now it says, um, according to the information that they put out, which CNN put this out, the Dayton shooter identified as 24-year-old Connor Betts, according to law enforcement sources. All right, and this is from CNN's Scott Glover, Josh Campbell, uh, Shimon Prokupex, and Evan Perez. The gunman in the mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio, has been identified as Connor Betts, 24. FBI and local law enforcement authorities have served a search warrant at the shooter's family home in Bellbrook. So they haven't caught this shooter. Now, it says that as far as the shooting, and let me share my screen. All right, let me share my screen. Hold on just a second. All right, let me share my screen. Now it says the shooter killed 9. He killed 9 people. Killed 9 people, injured dozens. They say about 24 people were injured when he opened fire early Sunday in a popular nightlife area of Dayton, Ohio, before being quickly killed by police. Was a man in his 20s named Connor Betts, a law enforcement official said. Wait a minute. So they said he was killed, but a warrant was out. So I don't know if this is just brand new or let me make sure. This is 18 minutes ago. Okay. This is updated 18 minutes ago or uploaded 18 minutes ago. So he was killed by police, the official said. Okay. Betts was killed by police less than a minute after he opened fire with a 223 caliber rifle in the streets of Oregon District around 1 a.m. Sunday, in the second U.S. mass shooting in less than 24 hours. Police haven't released further information about Betts or publicly discussed the motive. Now, the official who identified the gunman spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity and was not authorized to discuss an ongoing investigation publicly. Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley said the shooter was wearing body armor and had additional high-capacity magazines. Had police not responded so quickly, hundreds of people in the Oregon district could be dead today. The historic neighborhood that Police Lieutenant Colonel Matt Carper described as a safe part of downtown is home to bars, restaurants, and theaters. Whaley said at least 27 people were treated for injuries, and at least 15 of those have been released. Several more remain in serious or critical condition, local hospital officials said at a news conference. They said some people suffered multiple gunshot wounds and others were injured as they fled. Nikita Papillion, 23, was across the street at Newcomb's Tavern when the shooting started. She said she saw a girl she had talked to earlier lying outside Ned Pepper's bar. She had told me she liked my outfit and thought I was cute, and I told her I liked her outfit and I thought she was cute. Papillion said she herself had been to Ned Pepper's the night before, describing it as the kind of place where you don't have to worry about someone shooting up the place. People my age, we don't think something like this is going to happen, she said. And when it happens, words can't be described. Um, or words can't describe it. Words can't describe it. Now, Tanisha Leonard, 28, was in the back smoking at Newcomb's. She heard loud thumps that she initially thought was someone pounding on a dumpster. This is so weird. You have these people that come out and they say, hey, well, tell us what it was like. And yesterday you had people saying, well, it sounded like people just dropped some boxes. You know what I'm saying? But it's a dude with a fucking rifle blasting people. You know what I'm saying? And in this case, you have somebody saying um, somebody was pounding on a dumpster. Come on, man. Anyway, I just think that's very strange. You know what I'm saying? Nobody had an initial reaction of, was that gunshots? You know what I'm saying? Very interesting. It was so noisy, but then you could tell it was gunshots and there was a lot of rounds, Leonard said. Staff of an Oregon district bar called Ned Pepper said in a Facebook post that they were left shaken and confused by the shooting. The bar said a bouncer was treated for shrapnel wounds. A message seeking further comment was left with staff. President Donald Trump was briefed on the shooting and praised law enforcement's speedy response in a tweet Sunday. I'm sure he did. Government Mike DeWine issued his own statement announcing that he ordered flags in Ohio remain at half staff and offering assistance to Whaley and prayers for the victims. Now, Whaley said she has been in touch with the White House, though not Trump directly, and with DeWine. She said more than 50 other mayors also have reached out to her. The FBI is assisting with the investigation. A family assistance center was set up at Dayton Convention Center where people seeking information on victims arrived in a steady trickle throughout the morning, many in their Sunday best, others looking okay. So, this is the 22nd mass killing of 2019 in the U.S. According to the AP USA Today, Northeastern University mass murder database that tracks homicides where 4 or more people were killed, not including the offender. The 20 mass killings in the U.S. in 2019 that preceded this weekend claimed 96 lives. And this is what I be talking about, you know, all the time. I put this information out here all the time. You know what I'm saying? Not just me, Tariq Nasheed, he puts this information out all the time. People like Zoe Williams put this information out. So you can know what you're dealing with. You feel me? And it's not racist to sit there and call out racism. That's not racist, okay? And what I mean by calling out racism, calling out white supremacy. It's not racist to call it out. All right, it's being an honorary citizen. You know what I'm saying? It's doing what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do with your unalienable rights. You know what I'm saying? See, the government don't give you rights. You already have them. You can't allow the government to take those rights away. So you have to do what is just. You feel me? And if the government is not just, you know what I'm saying, you have to call it out. All right. So if the government is practicing racism, then we have to fight racism. You know what I'm saying? We have to call out racism. And that's why a lot of black people like myself, are putting out this information, and we're making these people accountable, take accountability. You know what I'm saying? The people who run this government, you know, we're going to make sure that they have accountability for what goes on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we have to do. Somebody has to take accountability for their crimes. You know what I'm saying? The government has to take accountability for their war crimes. And so, we have back-to-back terrorist attacks, happening in America in 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? And the suspects, you know, the suspects are the same. They're the same. They have the same qualities. They're getting training somewhere. They're getting training somewhere. They're getting weapons. I mean, it's not hard to get weapons, of course. You know what I'm saying? So gun laws ain't gonna stop people from having guns and doing mass shootings. You know what I'm saying? That's just not gonna happen. And I wouldn't allow the government to take my guns, and that ain't happening. You feel me? So you have another situation where the politicians are basically in on this too, and not passing, you know, laws to punish these people and these organizations who allow or who breed these types of people. You understand what I'm saying? So, um, this is why a lot of white supremacists do these mass shootings, because they know that the government and nobody and anybody else who is helping you or supporting whatever mass attack that you're going to do on the U.S. soil, they're going to make sure that they don't be accountable for it. And, there's always going to be one person, one lone wolf that they catch, even though some of these shootings, there are people that there are witnesses that say that they are hearing or seeing multiple shooters. You know what I'm saying? So if there's multiple shooters and there's only one going to jail, that's very suspect. And not to and can't forget one thing, one major piece of this is that when dealing with these white supremacists and these white nationalist organizations, they have already infiltrated law enforcement. Okay, so this is a big clusterfuck, right? You have the government, which is infiltrated by all kinds of white supremacists. These white supremacists, so a lot of these white supremacists are ones that were around, that were children back in the times of Jim Crow and things like that, and after Jim Crow, and what I'm saying, the civil rights movement and all that. You know what I'm saying? They were children, and now they're grown. You feel me? And they have the same racist ideologies as their parents. You feel me? So if you searching like pictures of the racism that happened back in the 60s and the 50s and shit like that, you're going to see a bunch of children around that were practicing white supremacy. Now they're all grown up. You know what I'm saying? So we know that nothing was done to end racism. Nothing was done to bring closure to a very, very dark period, which was slavery. And then after that, there was Jim Crow, which is basically domestic terrorism. All of it's domestic terrorism. You know what I'm saying? So we've been facing this domestic terrorism, as black people, all along. You know what I'm saying? And now that we have this current system in which all the U.S. citizens are subject to this Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is controlling our government, yet they're allowing these white nationalist groups to organize and come together and work with each other to carry out mass attacks. And not just carry out mass attacks, but to own land, to own property, to have access to resources, and therefore restricting the majority of the planet, of their resources. You know what I'm saying? And creating poverty. All right. So I say all that to say this. Don't be surprised when you see more of these mass shootings happen. Just be ready. You know, you just got to be ready. Um, be safe out there, man. Shit, ain't nowhere really safe here in America right now. It should be a state of emergency. I mean, you can't go to church, you can't go grocery shopping, you can't go to, I mean, you can't go to the club, you can't even do regular social shit without there being a shooting. You know what I'm saying? Who has nothing to do with what's going on, but with the actual event. But you know what I'm saying? They just coming out of nowhere, just shooting up movie theaters, shooting up grocery stores, shooting up all these people. You know what I'm saying? Having these white supremacist manifestos, you know, and you know, meanwhile, all this is going on. We're having war and conflicts with people in other countries about terrorists, about terrorism. Come on, come on, man. Let's be smarter than what we're showing ourselves to be. You know what I'm saying? As Americans, this is completely corrupt. You have Donald Trump. He's not gonna take any accountability for anything. We shouldn't expect him to take accountability for anything. Hell, he can't even take accountability for his own racism on black people. You know what I'm saying? With the Central Park Five thing, and you know, with him practicing racism, with his rental properties when he wouldn't rent out to black people. You feel me? So he's always been a fucking racist and a scumbag. You know, he's not going to take any accountability. He don't care. As long as them people vote for him, making him president, he don't care. He had these people all at his rallies, emboldening these people. And then he called himself a white nationalist. He said, fucking, the white extremists were fine people. Want to know why? Because his dad was a fucking Klan member. You know what I'm saying? His dad was a goddamn Klan member. Okay? They built that wealth from his grandfather. Trump's grandfather was a goddamn pimp. That was a pimp, man. He got his money from prostitution. You know what I'm saying? He owned all sorts of brothels and shit. So ain't nothing honorable about Trump. He's not going to take any accountability. The administration is not going to take any accountability. The U.S. government is not going to take any accountability. Hell, they haven't even paid black people reparations. So how should we expect them to basically conduct investigations on their own people? They're not going to. You know what I'm saying? If you know that you're doing crime and you know that you are the source of terror, you're not going to investigate yourself. Not if you are the law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we have to deal with, man. We have to deal with white supremacy. This is a global issue. It's not just an American issue, it's a global issue. But we as Americans, we have to deal with this shit at home first. You know what I'm saying? Because we live here and we shop here. You know what I'm saying? We socialize here. This is our home. we can't afford to have terrorism breeding amongst our country. You know what I'm saying? We still can't afford it. Look how much in debt we are in. You know what I'm saying? We're over $22 trillion in debt right now. You know what I'm saying? We are in no position to be, hoarding goddamn white supremacist organizations. You know what I'm saying? Terrorist organizations within our own country. You know what I'm saying? That are willing to do um, basically jihad terror attacks, go out on jihads. You know what I'm saying? And these motherfuckers are the same people who look like this guy. These are the same people who come up with our laws. These are the same people who restrict black people from resources. These are the same people who are enslaving us. All right? These are the same people who benefited off of slavery. They benefited off of slavery. They have 90% of all the wealth in this nation. And yet, they feel the need to have to carry out mass attacks on its own country. There's nothing patriotic about that. That's terrorist. That's a terrorist. You know? And we're going to call it for what it is, and we don't expect the mainstream media to call it for what it is too, because we know that they're in on it too, because they're infiltrated with the government, and the government is infiltrated with white supremacist organizations, and they even admitted it. Matter of fact, if you don't believe that they admitted it, let me show you my screen. Hold on. Let me show you my screen. Let me show you my screen. All you got to do is type in FBI or white supremacy. FBI has recorded about 100 domestic terrorism arrests. Hold on, show me the rest. Terrorism arrests in fiscal 2019, and most investigations involve white supremacy. All right. This is just one. All right. Most domestic terrorism arrests this year involve white supremacy. This is on the Hill. Deadly violence heightens concerns about domestic terrorism. FBI director says many domestic terrorism cases are tied to white supremacy. I want to go to a specific article. FBI infiltrated by white supremacists. Where is it? Where is it? Infiltrated by white. Hold on just a second. Bet. Here we go. All right. FBI warned of white supremacists in law enforcement 10 years ago. Has anything changed? Increased attention toward the killing of black men and women by police throughout the past year has ignited national conversations on racism and law enforcement. From Freddie Gray in April 2015 to Deborah Danner, an emotionally disturbed woman fatally shot this week by an NYPD officer. Protests around the country have forced many Americans to reassess how police engage with communities of color in light of, or perhaps despite, the increased scrutiny. FBI Director James Comey told police officers at a national conference last Sunday that because of insufficient data of use of force, Americans actually have no idea whether racial bias in policing is really an epidemic, pointing to current public outrage over police killings of African Americans. Comey said the absence of good information and data has aided in the growing belief that police officers target particular communities. That is the narrative, he told attendees of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. It is a narrative driven by video images of real misconduct, possible misconduct, and perceived misconduct. But even if there aren't hard statistics, the problem of racial bias among police isn't new. In fact, it's been a concern of the FBI for at least a decade. Exactly 10 years ago, this week, the FBI warned of the potential consequences, including bias, of white supremacist groups infiltrating local and state law enforcement, indicating it was a significant threat to national security. In the 2006 bulletin, the FBI detailed the threat of white nationalists and skinheads infiltrating police in order to disrupt investigations against fellow members and recruit other white supremacists. The bulletin was released during a period of scandal for many law enforcement agencies throughout the country, including a neo-Nazi gang formed by members of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department who harassed Black and Latino communities. Similar investigations revealed officers and entire agencies with hate group ties in Illinois, Ohio, and Texas. Much of the bulletin has been redacted, but in it, the FBI identified white supremacists in law enforcement as a concern because of their access to both restricted areas vulnerable to sabotage, and elected officials or people who could be seen as the potential targets of violence. The memo also warned of ghost skins, hate group members who don't overtly display their beliefs in order to blend into society and covertly advance white supremacist causes. At least one white supremacist group has reportedly encouraged ghost skins to seek positions in law enforcement for the capability of alerting skinhead crews of pending investigative action against them. As I said, no accountability. You understand what I'm saying? No accountability. Why don't they want to pay reparations? Because the government will have to take accountability. Accountability. You know what I'm saying? Accountability is like the enemy of the government. You feel me? They do not want to take accountability. They are not going to take accountability. They are just too primitive minded to do so. Problems with white supremacists in law enforcement have surfaced since that report. In 2014, two Florida officers, including a deputy police chief, were fired after an FBI informant outed them as members of the KKK. It marked the second time within 5 years that the agency uncovered an officer's membership in the KKK. Several agencies nationwide have also launched investigations into personnel who may not be formal hate group members but face allegations of race-based misconduct. Social media has made it easier to expose white supremacists who serve in law enforcement. In September 2015, a North Carolina police officer was fired after a picture of him giving a Nazi salute surfaced on Facebook. And as recently as August, the Philadelphia Police Department launched an internal investigation after attendees of a Black Lives Matter rally outside the Democratic National Convention spotted an officer in charge of crowd control with a tattoo of the Nazi Party emblem on his forearm and posted the image on Instagram. Many people in these communities of color feel they have been the subject of police violence for decades, said Samuel Jones, professor of law at the John Marshall School of Law in Chicago. And when an officer engages in conduct that adds or enhances that divide, They are ultimately jeopardizing the integrity of their agencies and putting their fellow officers in danger. Policing in America has historically had racial implications. The earliest forms of organized law enforcement in the U.S. can be traced to slave patrols that tracked down escaped slaves and overseers assigned to guard settler communities from Native Americans. In the century since, many law enforcement agencies directly participated in antagonizing communities of color or provided a shield for others who did. But in the 10 years since the FBI's initial warning, little has changed. Jones said, neither the FBI nor state and local law enforcement agencies have established systems for vetting personnel for potential supremacist links. That task is left primarily to everyday citizens and nonprofit organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center, one of few that tracks the growing number of hate groups in America. We catch them when we can, which means when we notice someone and check in the database, said Heidi Bierich, director of the intelligence project at the Southern Poverty Law Center. The group is responsible for exposing an Alabama officer as a member of a white nationalist hate group, League of the South, after he spoke at their national conference in 2013. The officer was later fired. Obviously, we do not want people with white supremacists or other extremist views to be in such positions, so it is important to screen them out, she added. The First Amendment's freedoms of association and expression mean it's perfectly legal for anyone to join a hate group, as long as it's for the purpose of legal activity and still be a member of law enforcement. They can even serve in other positions of public office. But according to the FBI memo, the government can limit employment opportunities of members when their memberships would interfere with their duties. Jones says that's problematic. I cannot imagine that the FBI today could issue a report concerning any kind of threat without people being alarmed and wanting immediate action, he said. But in this case, there seems to be almost an acceptance of it. The thought is, it's just ideology, and they have a right to believe this. In response to our inquiry, the FBI said it routinely shares information about potential threats to better enable law enforcement, but does not comment on specific law enforcement bulletins. There are, of course, police officers who recognize racial bias are calling for change. At the same conference where FBI Director James Comey spoke of the uncertainty of policing bias, the head of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, the IACP, Terrence Cunningham, apologized for what he called historical mistreatment of racial minorities. While we obviously cannot change the past, it is clear that we must change the future, he said. For our part, the first step is for law enforcement and the IACP to acknowledge and apologize for the actions of the past and the role that our profession has played in society's historical mistreatment of communities of color. These conversations come as the Department of Justice announced it's launching a national database on use of force and deaths in police custody. For many like Jones, it's another step towards accountability, but questions remain on how to tackle bias early on. One way to do that, he said, would involve screening. Screening would be personnel for bias and supremacist ties, something the FBI acknowledged as a threat a decade before viral videos of police killings became nearly a weekly discussion. As the nation continues to examine the role of race in law enforcement, many, like Jones, question whether scrutiny of the infiltration by white supremacists will move beyond the FBI's acknowledgement a decade ago to specific action in the decades to come. There needs to be more direct enforcement, Jones said. It's one thing to issue a memo and another to have continued action after it. There was a warning 10 years ago and nothing else since then. Okay? So the FBI had said it themselves. The FBI warned of white supremacists. Now, if you have the FBI warning of white supremacists, you know what I'm saying? Don't say nothing when a nigga say that that the FBI is infiltrated by white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no more, oh man, get out of here. That's just conspiracy theory. No, that's not conspiracy theory. It's been confirmed that the FBI warned and they knew that they were infiltrated by white supremacist organizations. Hell, they just put out a movie with David Duke and who was it? Was it Denzel Washington's son played in that movie? Was it that movie? Damn, what was that movie called? Just had a movie came out where it was a Spike Lee movie. Yeah, it was that Spike Lee movie. Yeah, they let you know right there that the police was infiltrated by white supremacist organizations even back then. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end they showed President Trump. You know what I'm saying? And then they showed the whole Charlottesville riots. You feel me? So this is serious, man. This is real serious. This is why, I got to put this information out. I feel the need to put this information out because, that leads to the topic. And let me come back. That leads to the topic. You know what I'm saying? And this is the topic right here. You feel me? So we need to put this information out. We need to call it for what it is. We need to control the narrative because if we allow these people to control the narrative, he's just another lone wolf and mentally ill person, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they killed him, but that doesn't stop the problem. That doesn't stop the problem. Who's to say that another doesn't take his place tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Or later on today. You feel me? So these people are not, these white supremacists or these white extremists, they're not afraid to die for what they believe in. You know what I'm saying? They're not afraid to go to war for what they believe in, which is nonsense. They believe in nonsense, but they're not afraid to go to war for it. You know what I'm saying? That being said, they're still cowardly because they're attacking they're attacking innocent civilians. You know what I'm saying? That's cowardly. That's cowardly. You know what I'm saying? That's very cowardly. But look, man, when you allow white supremacy to fester amongst people, when you allow those racial biasms to exist, when you allow actual real social economic factors to tie into racism, when you allow that to be an existing factor amongst humanity, you know what I'm saying? It's like people growing up thinking that, oh shit, we broke because we black and that's just how God made it. No, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? That's not how things work. You feel me? That's not how things work. We need to go back to things that work. And this government, this system, it doesn't work. This monetary system, it don't work. None of this shit works. You feel me? It don't work. And you have these white nationalist organizations that are in power. You wonder why it don't work. Because their ideology is nonsensical. The ideologies in which they stand on is all based on lies. They're all nonsensical. You know what I'm saying? They're very nonsensical. You gotta understand, white people are the youngest people on the planet. You know what I mean? You can never let these people count your pockets. Don't ever let these people, like how General Seti says, count your pockets. Tell you how old you are when white people themselves are the youngest people on the planet. Period. That's not even up for debate. You know what I'm saying? But meanwhile, you know, they are the ruling elite. The people who run the planet are people who look like this guy. You know what I'm saying? And black people wouldn't have a problem with it if you weren't going around killing everybody to maintain white supremacy. Honestly, you know that's just the truth. Honestly, black people really don't give a fuck that you're running the planet. Because if we cared that much that you're running the planet, we would have did something about it a long time ago. We really don't give a fuck that you own all the resources and all that shit to a certain degree. You know what I mean? As we have been showing historically. I mean, we could have exterminated y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? If black people looked at each other like, man, you black, I'm black, globally, and we looked at you guys as a common enemy, and we wanted to get rid of y'all, we would have been able to do that 100 times over. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been a problem. It wouldn't have been a problem. But black people are spiritual people, and we're very moral people, and we don't believe in just going around killing people and taking over by force. That is not how we operate. You know what I'm saying? That is not how black people operate. We do not take over nothing by force. We live amongst the force. We are the force. We live amongst nature. You feel me? We don't go against nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that we stick to us and we live how you know we were created to live. We were created to live amongst nature. We were created to rule this planet. You know what I'm saying? We were created to rule this planet in harmony and keep harmony to the planet. You feel me? There's no harmony. There's no harmony to this planet. It's nothing but death, destruction, white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So no matter how you look at it, you always have these white. You got to even look at it like this. Even with Masons even with Freemasons and like the people who are the Illuminati and all these other people, they have ties with white supremacist organizations. You understand what I'm saying? They have ties with white supremacist organizations. Albert Pike was they got a statue of Albert Pike in Washington D.C. He created the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, he was a fucking Mason. All right, and these are the same people who established the government. You know what I'm saying? So the government has always been infiltrated by white supremacists. Always. All right. This is why reparations it should be a number one topic, but they try to push that shit to the side because they can't take accountability for their war crimes. And racism is war. White supremacy is war. War for the resources to maintain the resources, restrict those resources from black people globally. You know what I'm saying? So we think we just got white supremacy over here. We got white supremacy in Rome. We got white supremacy Russia. We got white supremacy every fucking where. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember, even with colonization is slavery. Colonization ain't nothing more than white supremacy because you had the French go into Africa, the Dutch go into Africa, Belgium go into Africa, the Portuguese went into Africa, Spain went into Africa. You know what I'm saying? Britain went into you know what I'm saying? Great Britain was up in there too. You feel me? Enslaving Africans, all of them. All Germany went into Africa enslaving people. Man, all of these white people have been warmongering our people, have been doing these attacks, and they have not been taking any accountability. All they do is they get a couple fall guys that they can either kill them, or them motherfuckers want to kill themselves for the cause anyway. So they get those guys to fall, take the little accountability, the little crazy extremist people. But they don't. But as far as the people who have pivotal roles and and setting things in place and creating organizations. Man, these people don't have no accountability. It's like they don't even exist. You know what I'm saying? But meanwhile, you got a whole FBI that's infiltrated with white nationalist organizations. Man, there's so much evidence, there's so much data to suggest that the FBI is not only infiltrated with white supremacist organizations, the FBI itself is a white supremacist organization. The government itself is a white supremacist organization. You feel me? We have to take that into consideration. That that is exactly why that these lone wolves can come out and do these massive terror attacks and have the same iota. Think about it. Where are they getting their training from? They're not getting it from Call of Duty. You don't train. Look, you you can play Call of Duty for 24 hours a day, 7 days a fucking week. That don't mean you're gonna be Jason Bourne. Okay? You gotta have training. You gotta have places to train at, which means you gotta have people who own property to those places who allow the training or who organize the training facilities. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Just think about it. You gotta have. Come on, man. And they're all white supremacist organizations, and they're all young. They're all fucking young. They're all young. Majority of those white supremacists that are killing everybody, they're early 20s, early fucking 20s. Like they are indoctrinating people or brainwashing people at a very young age to carry out these attacks. And this looks like a regular person. You would not ever just, I mean, shit, me, I would suspect any of them, man, for real. I don't trust none of these people. You feel me? Just like they don't trust me. I treat people how they treat me. Nobody would treat, nobody would trust me to, you know what I'm saying, just off of just looking at me, you know what I'm saying, for no reason why. You feel me? So why should I do it the other way? Why should it be the other way? Why should I trust this dude because he looks like a trustworthy person? Look at this dude smiling like he ain't gonna kill 30 people one day. You know what I'm saying? These are the ideologies that we try to, you know, we try to analyze. We try to analyze it so we can understand it so that we can know how to protect ourselves from it. You know what I'm saying? So we need to take into consideration that, hey man, this dude, look, he got a white supremacist little vest on right there. You know what I'm saying? Got his little white supremacist vest with his white supremacist, white nationalist insignia. You feel me? And look, they get on code and they blur out the pictures of the affiliates. You feel me? Look, no accountability. Look, you had friends. Look, no accountability. Yeah, you see how the mainstream media is in on this shit? You know what I'm saying? Now, they already scrubbed this shit. Now I'm about to go to see if I can find some of this shit. Now let's get into some investigative work. Let's go check out this dude's profile. Let's find him on Facebook. Let's go find his white supremacist insignia. Let's see if we can find it. The government probably already wiped it. Let's see. Let's see. Because if you find in pictures like this where they're blurred out and all this shit, man, they already done wiped his. Uh, they already wiped this shit. Okay, hold on. Man, that's cool. Let me see. Connor Betts on Facebook. We know everybody got a Facebook. We ain't even gonna play. Hold on. Man, there's a lot of these Connor's here. But who is Connor Betts? Where is Connor Betts? Let's see, y'all. Let's see if we can find Mr. Connor Betts. I don't think this is him. I don't think this is him. Let me see if I can find this dude. Man, there's a lot of them Connor Betts out there. Jeez. Okay, I need a little bit of extra information. I need some extra information on this dude. You see, who is Connor Betts? Bellbrook, Ohio. So he's from Ohio. Okay, he's from Ohio. Let me see. Connor Betts, where you at, bruh? Ohio. City. Bellbrook, Ohio. Hold on, let me see. Bellbrook, Ohio. Trying to find this dude. Who is Connor Betts? Let's try to do states. Let me try to do state. I can only do the city. Let's try Dayton. Let's try Dayton. See if I can find this dude, man. Nope, not in Dayton. Alright, I'm gonna do some more research. I'm gonna see if I can find this dude. They probably already scrubbed his information, honestly. You feel me? They probably already scrubbed his information. Understand that this was a black person who did this shit, and he was a pro-black person. You feel me? And he believed in fighting against racism and all this other shit. If it was a pro-black person, they would have put all that information out for the public. You feel me? And they would have demonized his ideology. They would have used it as an opportunity to demonize all organizations affiliated with that ideology. And they would have used it to exterminate us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So these people are all in on it. The mainstream media, they're in on it. The FBI, they're in on it. You know, I don't believe that it's always just one shooter doing these shootings. Other witnesses say that they believe that there were multiple shooters. Like in Las Vegas, they believe that there were multiple shooters in Las Vegas, in that Las Vegas mass shooting. You know what I'm saying? So these white nationalist organizations are behind all of this. They're behind all of this. And you might ask yourself, well, why would they go around killing other white people? Well, look, they're doing these attacks. They're letting you know white supremacists are doing these attacks. And not only they're letting you know that white supremacists are doing these attacks, you know subconsciously that white supremacists have infiltrated these organizations. And if they're not going to investigate deeper into the white supremacist organizations, then they're doing these attacks to maintain their dominance. They're doing these attacks to maintain the fear and discourse among society. That's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They're sanctioning these attacks. The government is sanctioning these organizations to do attacks on U.S. soil. The reason why that is happening, and you're like, why would you let that happen? Why would you allow that to happen on your own U.S. soil? Because the people who control America are not Americans. They're international parties with international interests. You're talking about the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, they're the people who print money out of thin air. All right? They're the people who print money out of fucking thin air, and they're the ones who have control over our government because they loan money to our government. Our government is infiltrated with white supremacist organizations. Therefore, you know what I'm saying? The white supremacist organizations, the fucking Freemasons, the government, they got ties with the international, they got ties with international bankers. You know what I'm saying? They practice the same thing, the same ideology. This is global. Put the fucking pieces together. These people aren't going to do nothing about this. It's just another shooting. You know what I'm saying? And then tomorrow, Cardi B going to do something with some nigga. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to make fucking news, and everybody's going to forget. You know what I'm saying? Or they're going to throw R. Kelly out there. They're going to throw another piece of R. Kelly non factual shit, or you know what I'm saying? They're going to put some bullshit out there, the misinformation out there. They're going to, man, they're doing this shit to affect us psychologically. They're doing this shit to, you know, ensure their dominance on us. You know what I'm saying? That's all they're doing this shit for. They're sanctioning these attacks. If the government wanted to end this shit, if the CIA wanted to put an end to white supremacist organizations, they could have been doing that shit, right? We go over there and disable whole countries and then insert fucking puppet leaders in other countries. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying, like, take for instance, you got a relationship with a chick. This chick, you stole this chick, right? From her man, or you didn't necessarily steal her from her man, you know what I'm saying? But she cheated on her man with you, right? If she cheat on her man with you, what she think she gonna do to you, nigga? If she feel another man or a better man come along, nigga, what the fuck you think is gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? What kind of woman you think you got? It's the same thing with America. If America will go and set up public puppet ass people in other countries, you know what I'm saying, to rule that country, what you think they would do to our own country? You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Just think about it. Why? Why would you allow these people to just time after time after time after time just do all these killings, but not condemn them as much as what you condemn black people on a daily basis? And we see black children get killed for doing absolutely nothing, for just being black, for just being suspected. We see so many black people being killed, being suspected of a crime. You know what I'm saying? How is that possible? You can look at black people and see killer, but you can look at this dude, but you can look at this guy and see a nice young man. Like, come on, man, get the fuck out of here. I'm tired of all the covert racism. I'm tired of all the covert activity going on. I want this shit to be out in the open. Like I was telling niggas back before Trump became president. I said I kind of hope Trump wins so that we can see these people for who they are. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about all white people, of course. I'm talking about the people who practice white supremacy, which has to be a fucking majority of you. You know what I'm saying? Or it's too many of y'all to count, or it's too many of you guys that are practicing white supremacy, that are allowing white supremacy to fester in this country. You know what I'm saying? And we can't do this shit all on our own. Like, we don't have the resources. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the resources to really do anything about it. So don't look to black people like what y'all gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Black people just gonna have to do black people. And as far as white people, how what y'all gonna have to do is y'all gonna have to go to war amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? Ideologically, you're gonna have to bout that out. You're gonna have to say, hey man, this white supremacy thing, it's actually costing us money. I mean, we're still in trillions of dollars in debt. How about we put this shit to the side and you know what I'm saying? We actually build this country for real, and include these people so that we can have a powerful nation. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the other side. Nah, fuck that. We dying out. We need to ensure that the white race is preserved. Blah blah blah. We need to make sure we have the resources. This, that, and the third. So y'all gonna have to bout it out amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. Black people gonna have to stay on their P's and Q's. You ain't safe. You ain't safe. Shit, two times worse than these motherfucking than these white people out here aren't safe. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to worry about white supremacists who have infiltrated law enforcement. You got to worry about law enforcement pulling you over and practicing racism on you, and you got to worry about you being just at, you know what I'm saying, at the grocery store and a terrorist attack happened and you there, you caught in the midst. So you got two things to worry about. You know what I'm saying? You got two things to worry about. And not only that, you know, you got this whole justice system that basically allows this shit to happen. You have prosecutors that get on board with white supremacy. Man, it's just a big white supremacy, um, big epidemic. I mean, it's a plague amongst our society. And the only thing that's going to make that right is if, you know, we kick the people who are in power out of power. And you know what I'm saying? And we take away their means of power. And we take away the money. You know what I'm saying? Take away all the fucking money. You know what I mean? You take away all the money. No more white supremacy. All right? No more, I got this, you got that, none of that. Take away that shit, take away white supremacy. You feel me? They use this money to stay in power. It's their key tool right now. And they know that it has no intrinsic value. You feel me? They know that it truly has no intrinsic value. You know what I'm saying? But as long as they can print that shit out of thin air and you can believe in it, they're gonna take power over you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna use white supremacy to maintain their lineage and their preservation with our resources. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is what this is all about, man. Like, I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but I'm passionate about our people being liberated. I'm passionate about all Americans, not just Americans, people globally. I'm passionate about it. All people who believe in true justice. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate about righteousness. You know what I'm saying? And we have to replace this white supremacy system, the system of injustice, with a system of justice, of actual justice. We don't have a justice system. We have just these corporations that just, you know, want to benefit off of profit. That's nothing just about that. You know what I'm saying? That's just, what is profit? And you know what I mean? Profit for what? You know what I'm saying? To restrict resources from other people. Like, that's not profit. You feel me? We're not really all profiting from it. You know what I'm saying? We're not all profiting from the system. We need to have a system that benefits the, you know, the people as a total. And you know, any system that enables terrorist activity to happen on its own soil. I mean, that right there is indicative of a weak nation. Like, absolutely weak. You know what I'm saying? Very, very weak. But it is what it is. It is what it is. As long as these people are in power, we're going to see the same shit happening over and over again. As long as black people, we stay on code, we're going to be all right. You feel me? I believe in us. As long as we stay on code, we're gonna be all right. So protect yourselves wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? It's dark days out here. And yeah, man. Y'all be safe. But appreciate y'all, checking this video out. I know sometimes I get a little long-winded, but man, this shit is crazy, man. It's 24 hours, two terrorist attacks. And the day just began. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what's to happen in the next few hours. We don't know what's to happen next day. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. You feel me? And shit, we don't know how much worse these attacks can get. You know what I'm saying? Like these are just this is like gunfire, rapid gunfire. Shit, bombs. We gotta worry about that shit. We gotta worry about that. We don't have to worry about buildings and shit. You just wait. You think this is bad? You think this is bad? We're gonna have to worry about a lot worse if we don't nip this shit in the bud. You feel me? And start making these people accountable. You know what I'm saying? Who's really accountable, and that includes media people. That includes the government officials, law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? That includes all those people. Everybody. That includes the judges, the prosecutors. We have to make people accountable for the racist shit that they do. If somebody's just like in the UK, you know what I'm saying? I brought this up yesterday. Just like in the UK with Tariq. Tariq Nasheed got banned from the UK, and Hidden Colors 5, which premiered August 1st, or August 1st and August 2nd, you know what I'm saying, which was supposed to premiere in UK. It got banned from being played in the UK. Now, eventually, they lifted the ban off of the movie. You know what I'm saying? So they allowed the movie to get played in the UK, but they still banned Tariq Nasheed from going to the UK. Now, you would think if you're gonna ban somebody from coming to your shit, you better have a good reason. You know what I'm saying? Like you just ban somebody from coming to your country. Who the fuck did that? You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck had the power to put somebody's name on the list and say, hey, this nigga can't come? You know what I'm saying? So who had the power to do that? And it's crazy how they say who's responsible. They say the UK government banned Tariq. Who's the UK government? You know what I'm saying? You got black people that work in the UK government that could be uh, Hidden Colors fans. You know what I'm saying? So what you mean by UK government? Why are you speaking on all people? You know what I'm saying? That probably don't even know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? And ban him for what? What the fuck are you banning him for? Are you banning him because he made a movie? Like, is that where we're at? Is that where we're at? I thought, that's censorship. That's censorship 101. That's censorship 101. So black people can't learn about their own history in the UK? Is that what the government is trying to tell UK? So we got to look at this thing from not just from the perspective of a domestic issue. This is a global issue. White supremacy is a global issue. All right. So of course it's a domestic issue. Okay. So yeah, you got to be up on game, man. You got to be up on game, man. These people are not fucking playing. All right. These people are not playing. See, a lot of people can sit here and be like, man, this nigga always be talking that shit, man. But these motherfuckers always practice white supremacy. Like, these people are always planning 24/7 what laws to pass, how to restrict resources from you. You know what I'm saying? Um, uh, shit, laws to protect police officers from us. You know what I'm saying? Like, further protect the police officers. They're the ones with the fucking guns and the badges. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Crazy things. Crazy. We got a very backward system. And I just got to put this information out here so we can be more woke, so that we can be ready. And that anybody come out here and start busting on Americans, the Americans need to just, rise up and just, we just need that warrior spirit, and we need to dead that shit as soon as it happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? everybody just needs to just stay ready. Feel me? If everybody's ready, then less people less people would die. You know what I'm saying? Less people would die, and less people can be considered like just you know helpless victims. Like that number can go down. The number of helpless victims can go down because we ain't gonna no longer be helpless if we stay ready. You know what I'm saying? If we stay ready, then we're not helpless victims anymore. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, stay on code, y'all. Man, I, I'm just hoping no other shit happen for the rest of the day, man. And shit, I might even shit. Shit, I know one thing. I ain't going to Walmart or I ain't going nowhere where I know a lot of people shop at, man. I'm treading lightly where I shop. I'm trading lightly where I'm shopping. You dig? Fuck yeah. I'm going Joe V's shit. Fuck you talking about? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, be careful where you going, man. If you got that thing, man, let that thing rain. Let that thing rain, man. You got that thing, let it rain. All right, y'all be safe, man. Y'all keep y'all little ones safe too, man. I'ma holler at y'all. All right, make sure y'all go to oneloveculture.com, man. Get you some fly gear like you see here. You know what I'm saying? This is a little something. So you did. Make sure y'all go to oneloveculture.com if you haven't been already. Got some new gear. You did. Got everything for you. All the shits. All the shits. You understand? So yeah. I'm gonna holler at y'all. Like I said, appreciate y'all stopping through. One.